Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. Now this is the 10th in my series of top 20 LP tracks or B-sides by some of my favourite artists. I'm not going to reel off the other 9 because I'll probably forget one, but this time it's the turn of Sweet. Now I have done Slade and T-Rex, the other two of the top 3 glam bands of the 1970s, or the UK glam bands. The Sweet were probably the most successful worldwide, though they were massive in various countries, especially the Scandinavian countries and in Germany as well. And they did have 4 top 10 hits in the States, which T-Rex and Slade never managed to do. So they weren't the biggest albums band in the world. They never had a #1 album anywhere in the world, and they only charted in the UK with 1 album here, which is a shame because their albums are really good. But more importantly, their B-sides, and most of them didn't even feature on the album, and they were written by the band themselves, were even better. So those B-sides would have enhanced those albums if they had been put on. So I'm going to mention some bubbling unders, some shout outs, and they are Burnin', the B-side of Hellraiser. I wanted to include it, but it sounds so much like the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin, well, the opening riff anyway. Honeysuckle Love from the first album, which is a self-penned tune, really good. It is slightly bubblegum, but it's a good song. Rock and Roll Disgrace, which was the B-side of Ballroom Blitz. Silverbird from the album Level Headed. No You Don't and Peppermint Twist from the Sweet Fanny Adams album. And Lady Starlight from the Desolation Boulevard album. I nearly said Sensation Boulevard there. Okay, so going into the top 20 LP tracks, stroke B-sides, and we'll start off at number 20, and I'm giving it to Hot Shot Gambler from the Water's Edge album from 1980. This is a good mid-tempo song. It is slightly reminiscent, I think, of Smokey, but I do like Smokey, but it's a pretty catchy song. I really enjoy it, so Hot Shot Gambler gets number 20. At number 19, and it's the very acoustic-y iGames from Cut Above the Rest from 1979. There is a version of Brian Connolly singing this. This is the first album since Brian Connolly was fired, and it would have been better with Brian Connolly. They really missed his voice because Andy Scott's a good singer, as is Steve Priest, but Brian Connolly was special. So anyway, it's still an excellent acoustic-y, catchy little number, and it gets number 19, iGames. At number 18, and it's the hard rockin' Live for Today from the Off the Record album from 1977. Really melodic, but it is a hard rocker, and it is really, really good. And again, Brian Connolly's voice in this is excellent. At number 17, and a weird one, and I'm giving it to Air on a Tape Loop, which is like mostly an instrumental track at the end of the Level Headed album from 78, and it is actually very proggy. It kind of reminds me of something like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, or even Pink Floyd, or even a little bit of Mike Oldfield in there. It is completely different, but I really do enjoy it, and I think it's a great track. So it gets my number 17, Air on a Tape Loop. Okay, at number 16, and the bubblegum track from the debut album Funny How Sweet Cocoa Can Be, or Funny How Sweet Cocoa Can Be. I think it was retitled Funny How Sweet Cocoa Can Be in different territories, and it's the track Santa Monica Sunshine. It's a Chin and Chapman number, catchy as hell. It is bubblegum, but it is a really, really good little song, and it gets my 16. Okay, at number 15 we go to Give Us a Wink. It's the track 4th of July, which is just a real excellent rock song, really good, and it is quite melodic for a rock song. It's just brilliant, so it gets number 15. At number 14, and a track from Sweet Fanny Adams, and it's Rebel Rouser, and this was a self-penned number as well. This could really have been a single. It is as good as the singles from the 73, early 74 time. It does borrow a little bit from at the start from Eddie Cochran's Something Else, but it's just an excellent song, and it is the one, what number is it in this? It's the 4th track on side 1, so of Sweet Fanny Adams. So Rebel Rouser gets my number 14. At number 13, and we'll go with the B-side, and it's actually the B-side of their debut single for RCA, and it's You're Not Wrong for Loving Me. And this reminds me of Brinsley Schwartz's first album. It's very acoustic-y, full of harmonies. In fact, it's very similar to sort of Crosby, Stills and Nash, but this is really, really good. And compared to the A-side, which I do enjoy, the A-side is pure bubblegum. This is just a really excellent song, and it gets my number 13. At number 12, and it's from their last album, Identity Crisis from 1982. Now I know Andy Scott has released a few more albums since this, but for the full suite, as in 3 or 4 members, this is their last one. And the song is It Makes Me Wonder, and again this is different in sound. It's got a new wave sound to it, and it's got a bit of a punch to it, and it is really, really good. So it gets my number 12. I'll go down here. At number 11, and we go back to the Give Us a Wink album, and it's Yesterday's Rain, and this too is another brilliant song. This is their heaviest album, but I think that Yesterday's Rain and 4th of July are probably the least heavy songs on it. It's very melodic. Both songs are very melodic, but Yesterday's Rain is probably better, so it gets my number 11. At number 10, and from Desolation Boulevard, we have Medusa, which is a fantastic song. Yeah, really, really good vocals, really good chorus. Yeah, it's a good album. This album here is completely different to the US version, by the way. I think there's only 1, possibly 2 songs that are the same as the US version. In fact, the US version actually is mostly Sweet Fanny Adams plus A-sides of singles. Plus I think the 16s is on both of them, but I think that's the only one. But Medusa, brilliant track from a good album. It could have been better considering the B-sides that were floating around at the time. So I guess my number 10. At number 9, and the B-side of Blockbuster, is Need a Lot of Lovin', which is just a really good, strong glam rock track. Really, really good, and nearly as good as Blockbuster, but it's harder edged. So I guess my number 9, Need a Lot of Lovin'. At number 8, and another B-side, this time the B-side of the 16s, is Burn on the Flame, which again is just a fantastic song, and this really would have enhanced the Desolation Boulevard album. Really would have. Don't understand why it didn't get on whenever there's a 9-minute drum solo on that album. No, it's okay, but this is a fantastic song with a really catchy hook to it, so it gets my number 8. At number 7, and we go back to the Give Us a Wink album, it's White Mice, and this races along at about 100 miles an hour. Brilliant. It's very heavy, but again, I like melody, I like catchiness, and this is catchy, although it's heavy as hell. It's an absolutely fantastic song. So White Mice gets down number 7. At number 6, and we have part ballad, Laura Lee. It starts off very acoustic-y. It's just a really strong song with a really good chorus, and again Brian Connolly's vocals are excellent. At number 5, and it's from Sweet Fanny Adams, and it's AC/DC, and this is a Chin Chapman song. Yeah, this could have been a single. In fact, this was covered by Joan Jett. She does a fantastic version of it, really, really good. But AC/DC, catchy as hell, and it may have been a single in some territories, I don't know, but it certainly deserved to be, so I guess my number 5. At number 4, and from Identity Crisis, it's Love Is the Cure. Now this one has got a real Status Quo vibe to it, but yet again it is really, really melodic, and it's really good. It's not overly heavy. It does have that sort of Status Quo riffing to it, but it's an absolutely brilliant song, and it gets number 4. At number 3, and we will go back to the Level Headed album, and it's the song Anthem number 1, Lady of the Lake, and again this is very proggy, it's got harpsichord and all in it, and again Brian Connolly's vocals are excellent in it, even though he was struggling at this time to sing. Andy Scott takes a lot of the vocals on this album, but you can hear Brian's vocals on this and he does a really good job of it. It's completely different to anything they did, a little bit like the Air on a Loop or a Tape Loop, but really good song, and it opens up side 2, and that gets my number 3. And number 2, and possibly the heaviest song The Sweet ever did, and it's Andy Scott's Set Me Free, which opens the Sweet Fanny Adams album, and this is magnificent. This kind of reminds me of Iron Maiden. I'm not an Iron Maiden fan, so this is much better, but it's got that sort of, I don't know, speed metal type music. I don't know anything about heavy metal or any of the genres or subgenres, but to me it sounds like speed metal, and it is really excellent. So I guess my number 2. But my favourite is actually the B-side of Fox on the Run, and it's Misdemeanor. Steve Priest takes the lead vocals on this, and they're excellent, but whenever all the guys come in for the really catchy chorus, it's magnificent. And the first 2/3 of the song, brilliant. Then they go into a bit of a free-for-all guitar jam, which I used to not really care too much about it, but without it now it wouldn't be the same song, so I absolutely love it. So my number 1 Sweet LP track stroke B-side, and in this case it's the B-side, is Misdemeanor, and it would have been brilliant on Desolation Boulevard along with Burn on the Flame. Okay, that's my top 20 Sweet LP tracks stroke B-sides. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have another video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.